Good evening, and welcome to Red's Classic Theater. This week's show borders on the spectacular as we visit the second annual International Sculptor Exhibition, now on display at Peace Arch Park. Hi everybody, I'm Red Robinson. Works by artists from both sides of the border are on display this summer. We'll tell you more in our next segment. For Star Trek fans, tonight's movie also borders on the spectacular. It's Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, featuring the original Star Trek cast and Ricardo Montalban as the evil Khan. The second installment in the Star Trek film series got only a fraction of the budget assigned to the first film. We'll tell you why later on, and we'll also tell you the truth about Ricardo Montalban's muscular chest, and about this film and how it kept Leonard Nimoy in the Star Trek family. Now here's Act 1 of Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. This week on Red's Classic Theater, we're at Peace Arch Park, site of the second annual International Sculptor Exhibition. Sponsored by the United States-Canada Peace Anniversary, the exhibit features the works of both American and Canadian artists. Greeting you as you pass by the Peace Arch is Ancestors, created in charred cedar by Denman Island artist Michael Dennis. Born of a love for music and welding, Walla Walla, Washington artist Robert Freeman created this piece he calls Cacophony. For those who love extreme sports, you'll appreciate Descending Rage by Davenport, Iowa artist Eric Mart. He created the piece shortly after crashing his own bike on a mountain trail. And from Surrey sculptor Valerie Sokolovsky comes Happiness, her expression of the joy and love between a mother and child. We'll have more from Peace Arch Park and the International Sculptors Exhibition in a moment. The annual International Sculpture Exhibition at Peace Arch Park is a project of the United States-Canada Peace Anniversary. The group is dedicated to the preservation of the Peace Arch and the International Park and to the support of American and Canadian artists. And TV12 is proud to be the media sponsor for this year's exhibition. If you'd like to know more, you can visit their website at peacearchpark.org, or you can call us at TV12 for a phone number. Now let's return to Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. Hope you're enjoying Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan this week on Red's Classic Theater. As successful as the first Star Trek film was, studio executives at Paramount had no stomach for another $45 million budget. So to oversee the next film, they brought in TV executive Harve Bennett, best known for producing The $6 Million Man and The Bionic Woman. In his first meeting at the studio, Bennett was asked two questions. Could he make a better film than the first one, and could he make it for less? When he responded yes on both counts, studio executives said, then do it. And Bennett proceeded to make what many consider to be the best in the Star Trek film series. Now let's return to Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. We're featuring Leonard Nimoy in Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan this week on Red's Classic Theater. Not all of the cast members of the original Star Trek TV series were happy about the prospect of making another big screen voyage on the Starship Enterprise. Perhaps most unhappy was Leonard Nimoy, who was anxious to break away from his character of Spock before being irreversibly typecast. So before he agreed to make Star Trek II, Nimoy demanded that the studio promise to kill off his character in the movie. But a funny thing happened while this film was in production. Leonard Nimoy began enjoying himself and felt reinvigorated playing the role of Spock. When it came time for the Spock death scene, Leonard Nimoy then realized the impact of his decision and thought he'd made a mistake. But fortunately, there was enough time to rewrite the script so Spock would appear in future episodes of the Star Trek film series. Now let's return to Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. Ricardo Montalban is playing the title role this week in Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan on Red's Classic Theater. Fresh from his 5-year run on Fantasy Island, Ricardo Montalban expected serious attention from Hollywood, so he was initially disappointed with the size of his role in tonight's movie. Khan's role at first glance is fairly small, he said. I admit I wanted a more important role. But after rereading the script, Montalban had a change of heart, realizing that his character was at the core of the story. In his role as Khan, Ricardo Montalban wore a costume that showed off an impressively well-muscled chest. It was so well developed, in fact, that many moviegoers felt certain the actor was wearing a false breastplate. But Leonard Nimoy went on the record to assure everyone that Montalban's brawny physique was completely his own. Now back to Ricardo Montalban in Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. From the International Sculpture Exhibition at Peace Arch Park, time for our weekly movie trivia quiz. If you're a fan of Star Trek, this will be an easy one. The character of Khan was created for the original Star Trek TV series. What was the number and title of the original Star Trek episode that first introduced us to Ricardo Montalban as Khan? Back with the answer in a moment. Time now for the two answers to this week's movie trivia quiz. Ricardo Montalban first appeared as Khan in episode number 24 of the original series. That episode was called Space Seed. Now back to Ricardo Montalban in Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. Next Sunday night on Red's Classic Theater, our movie will take a compelling look at life after the dropping of the A-bomb. Max von Sydow and Judd Nelson star in Hiroshima, Out of the Ashes. Our movie next week on Red's Classic Theater. And that's all for this week's show. Hope you enjoyed Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. We'd like to thank the U.S.-Canada Peace Anniversary for taking us on a tour of the second annual International Sculpture Exhibition here in Blaine at the Peace Arch Park. Now, the exhibition is on through September. Be sure to bring the family out this summer and have a look. I'll see you tomorrow morning on 650 CI with the Wake Up Club, and next week here on Red's Classic Theater. From beautiful Peace Arch Park, thanks for being with us. Good night, everybody. Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan on Red's Classic Theater will continue. Red's Classic Theater from the International Sculpture Exhibition at Peace Arch Park will continue. Red's Classic Theater from the International Sculpture Exhibition at Peace Arch Park will continue. It's Art in the Park this week on Red's Classic Theater. We'll make our second annual visit to Peace Arch Park to tour the International Sculpture Exhibition now on display. Our movie this week is Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. We'll tell you about the tight-fisted budget given to the film by Paramount Pictures and about why Leonard Nimoy demanded that his character be killed off. I'm Red Robinson. Join me, won't you?
Sunday night at 10 on TV 12.
It's Art in the Park this week on Red's Classic Theater. We'll make our second annual visit to Peace Arch Park to tour the International Sculpture Exhibition now on display. Our movie this week is Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. We'll tell you about the tight-fisted budget given to the film by Paramount Pictures and about why Leonard Nimoy demanded that his character be killed off. I'm Red Robinson. Join me, won't you?
Tonight at 10 on TV 12.
This week on Red's Classic Theater, Admiral Kirk faces an enemy from his past. Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, Sunday night at 10 here on TV 12. Tonight on Red's Classic Theater, Admiral Kirk faces an enemy from his past. Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, tonight at 10 here on TV 12. Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan on Red's Classic Theater, Sunday night at 10. Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan on Red's Classic Theater tonight at 10.